You're listening to High Ham Hindu Radio on Atlanta 1100 AM.
So it's that special time of the week when we introduce to you our special guest of the week. And today we really have a exceptional, I don't even know what to call him, artist, producer, writer, extraordinaire, Mr. Big Reese.
Hey.
What's up, Big Reese?
What's up? What's happening with y'all?
Doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How y'all been?
Cool, bro. Trying to be swag like that coat, man.
Oh,
Wish
man.
Y'all can see the
I know,
coat.
and I like that.
man.
It's like Billie Jean.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, bringing
like
it
that
back.
ring too.
I know, check him out. And I think he still had that from the Grammys.
He got his Grammy fit on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
So what's going on, bro?
It's good. What's up with y'all?
So, I first of all, I have to say, when I already kind of know a lot of his background, but when I was Googling him and then, the old Wikipedia comes up, I'm like,
Oh, man.
check this out.
Right?
And I was like, wow, and I know most of it is true, too,
All the warrants. He's wanted in 5 different countries.
16 baby mamas.
Yeah, notice we didn't give his legal name.
That's true.
Big Reese, that's all we will say.
Big Reese.
Please, leave me.
That's right. So anyway, so let's kind of move into it with Big Reese here. And one of the reasons why we wanted to have him on is because this man has done it in the indie game as an artist, as a producer, and now as a reinvented artist, which we'll find out a little bit today. But your kind of the primary way you broke in was as a member of a rap group. Is
Called
that right?
PA, yep.
PA, and that's from. Tell us a little bit about PA.
Our PA was Parental Advisory. It was one of the first acts to come out of the dungeon. So it was a PA, Outcast, Goody Mob, Witch Doctor, whole Dungeon Family thing. So yeah, that was a minute ago.
Hey,
But we also were one of the first acts that well, not the first, but like newer acts that LaFace had when they first was here. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah, Pebbles was our manager at the time. I know people remember Mercedes, but
Yes, from back in the day.
Yeah.
Right. So how many albums did you guys cut?
Well, we
at
actually
PA?
did only one album with them, and then we did 2 albums with after we left, and after we left, we did 2 albums with DreamWorks.
Okay.
Yeah, so we only did 1 album with them, but later we did 2 albums with DreamWorks.
Okay.
Let me say this from being from Atlanta, man. PA was like one of the first voices that really made sense to a lot of Southern guys. You know what I'm saying? Because, that was still in the booty shake era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we was just getting out of Kilo, Ali was tearing it down. And here comes this great voice of, it's like a great super group, man. And then, the dungeon kept slinging them after y'all, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just want to let you know, brother, from an East Side guy.
Oh, appreciate it, man.
Appreciate
it, man.
meeting you and you coming on our show. Looking
thanks for having
real
me.
fly.
Thank you
Yes,
for having
indeed.
me.
Already, man.
So how did you move from being an artist into being a producer?
Really, it was really kind of out of necessity because we were a group that was produced our first album was produced by Organized Noise, and their workload increased. So just by being around, we learned how to do records. So our next album, they didn't have a label at the time; they were just doing their thing. So it was like, look, we're gonna, we had been in that label system. We knew how it worked. We was like, look, so we need to do our own records, or we need to sign an act, and to produce them. So I just started doing beats, whatever. And next thing you know, we wound up doing 2 more albums. But it was kind of like pushed into the situation because we couldn't really get in because they had Outkast, they had Goody Mob, they had Witch Doctor. So many people in line. We just happened to be the first act that came out. Yeah. So we were almost kind of like the guinea pigs too because they never actually did any records. Yeah. So professionally, you know what I mean, like from a label standpoint. So when it came back around, you got other acts that we did our first album. So then it was like, okay, let's come up with these other acts. So we just started doing beats. In the meantime, we started actually producing other people. And while we were producing other people, we also would just have extra tracks laying around. And me and Mello, which was the other guy in the group, we was like, well, let's just do some of these songs. And those songs got heard by Leor Cohen's at Def Jam at the time.
Wow.
And actually, let me go back. Actually, Dante Ross and Julia Lapari and Sophia Chang played it for this chick. I played it for Leor Cohen's. Okay. And that kind of was how we started really professionally being producers and artists on our own, if that makes sense.
Right.
Cool.
Now, I know that you've worked with some of the top artists in the business, But you also had a song that reached #1 on a couple of Billboard charts a few years ago. And there's a lot of stories and rumors about that song with Lloyd.
Yeah.
That it was recorded in your basement.
Yeah, it was.
Lloyd
Yeah,
wasn't signed.
Actually, it was.
And so just kind of tell us how that song came to be. And
Lloyd
how it
was in
took
a
off.
transition too at the time. He was in a. Actually, it's funny. We was all in the on the same label when I met Lloyd. Lloyd was in a group called In Tune with his little brothers. So Lloyd was a little kid, like basically a little kid group. So we all was in that transitional phase. He didn't have a deal. He had just wound up doing an album with Magic Johnson, right? And then that Magic lost his label or didn't want to do the label anymore. Irv Gotti came in and was like, okay, we're going to work with him, yada, yada, yada. And Irv wound up putting out the album, the Southside album, the one with, Ashanti, first single, whatever. And it was a transitional thing. Irv Gotti was going through that whole legal thing with whatever was going on with his little, legal trouble. So Lloyd basically didn't have it was over really, basically because everybody thought Irv was going to go to jail. So we was just at the crib, me and Jasper, that's my production partner, Jasper Cameron, and then he was like, man, we need to do something. Lloyd was having, everybody was having financial problems. We was all, we was getting money because I was doing records for other people, but as far as like Lloyd, the way his main bread and butter was him being an artist. He wasn't a songwriter or a producer at that time. So he was like, man, he was calling like, hey, Brad, my money, man, I missed that, Brad. So we was like, okay, look, we need to do something for him. Jasper came over to the house. It was like 2:00 in the morning. We like, man, we gonna save his life. I mean, not like all the power was in us, but that was the mind frame. It was what we were saying. Like, we need to do something for him. So I had an old beat that was another record, and I pulled it up, and Jasper was like, that's it. Now, we was about to leave because we couldn't come up with nothing. We had laughed and couldn't come up with nothing all night. We just like, man, it's over. I'm going to take you back to the crib. I pulled up a beat. He heard it and was like, man, that's the song. And it was the beat for You, Laura's You record. And he started singing that,
interpolation.
Yeah, interpolation that we did. Yeah, Spandau Ballet. And it's a funny thing. Lloyd didn't even want to do that song.
Really?
Wow.
Lloyd heard him was like, man, this is the funniest thing. He said, man, my grandpa said this song ain't a hit, bruh. Like, your grandpa said it's not a hit. I was like, okay, you know what? Just cut it. So the way we always had to get Lloyd to do songs was we would trick him. We're just going to demo it.
Okay.
Right? But we already knew. I already had the radio people set up. We going on a little longer now. Going further in. After we did it, we went to the studio. Jasper demoed it first. Lloyd cut the vocals. Finally got him to cut the vocals. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I said, whatever. We're going to do it. And then we put one guy on in there, Tango Red. I don't know if y'all remember him from Atlanta.
Yes.
I did a record for him with Lloyd on the hook called Cheat Tonight. Yeah. So in order for us to get on the radio, you had to be with established artists at that time. Yeah. So it was like, let's put Tango Red on the record. Well, this is before Wayne got on the record. So he got on the record. Boom, the record started getting played on the radio. Wayne heard the record because Lloyd and Wayne are from New Orleans. They both from New Orleans.
Right.
Wayne heard the record. This is before Wayne was hot. He was still kind of underground, bubbling. It was still, for us who knew him, he was hot, but mainstream, he wasn't that big. Boom, he got on the record. So we wound up having 2 versions of the record out. Mm-hmm. The record wound up coming out, and we put some money behind it. Jerry Clark, I don't know if y'all know him, and then Smoking B, that was at V, got behind the record. And I could talk about that because it's a fun story, but a long story short, we did the record in my basement. Lloyd didn't want to do the record. He finally did the record, and it hit, and it was one of his biggest records.
All right.
So now you've got something new you want to share. We're going to play in a minute, and I want you to introduce your new record.
Yeah, I've been doing a band. I actually kind of stepped away from urban music for a minute just because it got to a point where I just couldn't take. I mean, I love trap music. I love, all of us, we love what we love, but I'm so artistic as far as like in my head, creativity. I need to have that drive, and I haven't really had anything other than, I'm always inspired by old acts, especially bands. And I was like, I'm just gonna do, a band, some alternative, and the name of it is Kennedy Rothchild, which I took that name from President Kennedy and Rothschilds, even though I spelled the Rothschilds a little different, but I figured, urban legend have it that those two families didn't get along. Now, we don't know that, but that's like an urban legend, and I thought it'd be interesting to make those two families marry. Also, to represent something that don't really happen far as like, you know, in that world or whatever, in the underground legends. Also, too, being a black artist, you don't really see too many alternative black artists. Yeah. So it's like a double thing.
Okay.
And in one of my new songs, I have a couple songs, but this is my new song. It's called Those Jeans. And it kind of feels like if I was to put it in a box, it kind of reminds you of Black Keys, meet Lenny Kravitz a little bit, you know what I mean? So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear it.
Those jeans.
Watch out now. Slow down, mama. Slow down now. She's going ham. She move how she wanna move. She don't care about your heart. She don't give a damn about you having no fancy car. No. You can flown all you wanna flown, little mama ain't impressed. She'll look you in your eye and tell you go get yourself. Have you seen how she look in those jeans? Have you seen how she look in those jeans? Girl, will wipe you out clean. She'll wipe you out clean. Have you seen how she look in those jeans? Get down, come on. Oh. Go. Oh, oh. Her attitude is kinda mean. So mean. Have you seen how she look in those jeans? With them jeans, fit that thing. Girl, will wipe you out clean. But when you see her in them jeans, gonna break it down now. Wow. Wow.
We're still here at I Am Mindy Radio with Big Reese.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Pink is one of my favorite artists you worked with. How
Yeah.
was it working with her?
Yeah, I worked with Pink early on in her career, so it was real cool because she was actually in a R&B group that was on the Face, and then she went and did a solo album. And records we did with her were kind of alternative, you know, but she was still kind of R&B at the
Okay.
time. I mean, because she's, you know, she had that soul, that blue-eyed soul.
Right.
You know, when we say what we say when a white girl or white dude can really sing, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
she was cool. Pink was always cool. She liked to drink and have fun. You know, she's a normal person. I mean, she wasn't ever, you know, and you could tell that by now, like how you look at her now. She's Pink was just like that then. She's the same way now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, she was always cool though. You down home girl. She's from
Okay.
Philly, I think. So, you know, she kind of hood too. So,
Oh, okay.
you know what I mean?
Well, I think you real cool. I have to
okay.
ask, when is your birthday?
My birthday is June. I am a Gemini.
Gemini, you are air. Okay, that's why you so smooth.
I don't know.
Okay.
You know, Gemini. That's one of the things. One of them like, hey, you know, this is a
Do you
really
have a
great
name?
idea.
Do you have a name
and
for
the other
your
one's
other
like,
personality?
man, that's a horrible idea.
Most people that are Geminis have a name, 2 names.
You know what? I don't really have a name for it, but I probably need to come up with one. But you know, the crazy part, both of my sides are kind of the same.
Okay.
I've kind of gotten them tame. Now, if
Oh,
you'd have
wow.
caught me a while back,
Okay.
you don't know who you might have got.
Because 1 minute you could be the life of the party, and next minute
Well,
you
you know
will shut
what?
it down.
Well, you know what? I'm never the life of the party. Now, that's one thing. I'm one of those Geminis that honestly that they say
Laid
that we
back.
like. Yeah, I hate company.
laid back
I'm
deal.
very reclusive. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's
So
what's up.
I'm just like that. Like I only like people around who I really genuinely have a vibe with. You know what I mean?
Much
Yeah.
respect, yes.
Well, I appreciate you coming by and loving on the crew.
Oh man,
know
thank
what
you
I'm
for letting me
saying?
come up here.
You know, sharing so much knowledge, brother.
Yeah,
you know, brother with
anytime
PhD.
I get something, man, I bring it to you guys. You know.
Yeah, definitely. We want it to be an exclusive at IM
Yeah,
Indie
you know,
Radio.
I got you. You know me and John.
Any
you
new
know,
things, you got to drop it exclusive on the I Am Indie, man.
Yeah, me and John talk every day, so I got something for you. Whenever I come up with something, I'm actually doing a video now. I have another video out for another song called "She Got It," and I have a few videos. But if you go to YouTube or just Google Kennedy Rothchild, make it real easy for you. I got a record called "She Got It," which all my stuff is '60s influence. So if you really into that vibe, just really check it out. You'll really get, Quentin Tarantino. Because I shoot videos as well, so I shoot all my own videos, and everything is kind of that influence. But I have a video following up in probably next 2 weeks for the Doge Jeans video.
I want to. We definitely want to hear about what you're doing in the future, but I also want to go back to the past a little bit, because I want to also. Part of our purpose is to inspire other indie artists. Yeah. And I know that you had a song that was placed in a major film, one of the Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
And you were at the time, you weren't signed to a label. You were kind of doing your own thing. So tell them a little bit about how you got that song out there. And
actually, it was funny because, like I said, it was another one of those transitions. And if you're in the music business, and if you in any business, and you're independent, or you're self-starting your own business, those ups and downs. So it was another one of those ups and downs. I was at that point. I'm still making records. But it wasn't, everybody went banging on the door. So I actually was just doing a solo album, a rap solo album. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this album. Yeah. You have all these records, so you just, you're an artist. You're gonna be inspired. So I'm gonna do these records. Well, I did a few records, and one of them was just kind of like, it felt like score music for anything that was gonna be fast. You know what I mean? As far as like just that energy. And Lil Jon and Rob, which is Rob Mack is Lil Jon's manager. I hit him. I was like, hey man, I heard that John Singleton was in town. And he was like, yeah, they in town. Yeah, I'm hanging out with him tonight. I was like, man, I have a record for the up-and-coming movie that they're doing. And he was like, well, I'm not going to be able to give it to him, but look, I'll just give you where he's at, and I'll tell him that you're coming over there. And he was at this hotel, Four Seasons, right on, what is that, 10th or 12th or 14th, whatever.
Street.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. So I hit him on, I hit him. He was like, well, I'm about to leave, so if you're going to bring it to me, I'm about to leave, so if you're going to bring it to me, you got to come now. So happened I live right in Grant Park. Yeah. So, I live right in Grant Park, so I was like, man, okay, cool. Boom, I jumped in the car. When I got there, he was leaving.
Wow.
So I had a CD. At the time, people weren't doing flash drives and that stuff. They had, CD. So I gave him a CD. He was like, yeah, I listen to it when I get, man, glad you brought it to me. I listen to it when I get home. I wasn't expecting nothing out of it. I knew it was a great song for the movie, but, you always think your music's great. So I gave it to him. As soon as he landed, I guess he must have listened to it, as soon as he walked in the spot, because he hit me and was like, this is what we've been looking for. This is what we needed. And it wound up being in like 3 scenes in the movie.
Wow.
But the problem came into play since he didn't have the soundtrack. He only was over the movie.
Right.
It didn't want to be on the soundtrack because the soundtrack was Ludacris's company. What's his company? DTP. Right. Yeah, so they wound up having the soundtrack, and I guess all they artists, or they already made out their deal, but they wound up paying me a lot of money for it. It was cool, so. And I mean, and also too, just from an inspirational standpoint, if you got something you really believe in, you got to really jump up and go move.
Right.
Because sometimes you'll be like, he about to leave, man. Well, I ain't gonna go do it, or I don't know if it's that good. And really, you just have to believe in yourself and do that. Because most stuff I ever got really was kind of spontaneous like that. It's never really been something I've done where it was really super planned out.
I got a quick question, if you don't mind. You got a question? You got a question, Jonathan?
No, we're close to wrapping it up. I was going to ask him to leave some words of encouragement, but go ahead with
words, brother. No. This is off the mic. I'm just trying to get a little deal.
Okay, all right. Okay, yeah. we can do off the record.
Session,
so you mentioned you do video production. I mean, you're just a man of a lot of trades. So if people want to get in touch with you, how can they find you? Social media, your website?
Yeah, you can
YouTube?
you can hit me on Twitter, which is Kennedy Rothchild without the D, because they wouldn't give me my D on Twitter. Or you could just, like I say, you can subscribe if you like to my YouTube page, which is just Kennedy Rothchild. Send me an email. I'll send you. You can look at some of the videos that I've done. I actually physically shoot them and I edit them. It's kind of more of a hobby for me, which I really did it because you know, in this economy, you know, I can't keep paying for a video. If I'm gonna do an album, I need videos. So it was just something fun to do, and I wound up really getting into it.
So once again, out of necessity.
Out of necessity, I just learned how to, you know, edit and shoot, and it was just fun. And like I say, to get in contact with me, you can hit me on Facebook. Like I say, it's Kennedy Rothchild. You can hit me on, like I say, Twitter, Kennedy Rothchild, or YouTube. And, you know, if you need some videos, you know, I may not be able to shoot them for you, but I might be able to help you out, you know what I'm saying, as far as give you the right direction, depending on, you know, I don't want to say, oh, I can shoot them for you, because I really, like I said, it's been more of a personal thing and hobby, but I would love to, you know, definitely just communicate with people and just, you know, keep the vibe going, especially independent artist-wise.
Yeah. Well, we definitely appreciate you coming by, and I'm sure the listeners got a lot out of that interview and some good stories.
And another thing, get you a great lawyer.
Yes.
You know, Mr. Mason.
J. Mason, Esquire.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't ask him to do that.
No, but I'm just saying, like, that's another thing you said, you know, what people need, like, if any, more than anything, you need someone, and not just a lawyer.
Good point.
You know, you need a good team.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, you know, people don't know, but me and John's been working together for years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And he supported me even when I didn't have money paying. You know,
what's
so,
up.
and
Good
not just that aspect of it, just, you know, anybody that's starting off, man, get you some people that really are with you, not just because it's money. You know, even as, you know, get you a good manager, you know, and not just somebody who's like, oh, I want to work with you because you're booming, you know, just, and that's the thing I think I could tell anybody, because all through my career, I've had my ups and downs and still have those. And everybody who've ever really been with me is someone that really cared. You know, all the way down to Pebbles.
And they're all successful.
Yeah, even, you know, down to Pebbles, you could say, people say, oh, what she did to TLC? Like, well, I know she did for me. You know, she definitely was somebody that if she didn't help me, I would probably not be here, you know, or it would have took longer.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Right. Well, you know, you got an open invitation, so I'm sure we'll see you again here sometime.
Yeah.
Thank you, Big Reese.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right, Mr.
Reese. Yeah, and just like
Kennedy
I say,
Rothchild.
Yeah, like I say, man, follow me on at Kennedy Rothchild, and we communicate.
All right. Take care, man.
All right, thank you.
All right.